How's it going, super friends? Like my goatee and mustache? Well, I don't. My wife made me do this. Not that there's anything wrong with having a goatee and mustache. I've had them plenty of times, but I'm kind of enjoying the whole clean-shaven feeling of not having an itchy face, and now I'm gonna have this for who knows how long, unless I accidentally slip while shaving. Slip while shaving? I was shaving, and then she came in right when I was at the point I was gonna start shaving this off, because I shaved the sides first, and then she was like, "Ooh, are you gonna keep that? I really like that." And I was like, well, I wasn't going to, but since you asked me so nicely, I guess I will. Come on, say it with me now, people. Happy wife, happy life. Yes. All right, clowning around aside, because I really am just joking. I have it, it's here. Maybe gone today, gone tomorrow, I have no idea. My wife really did want me to keep it, but I don't hate it as much as I'm saying. Let's get to the point of the actual video, which is, remember how I had that video which was my top 10 classic Superman action figures? The one where the criteria was that Superman must have his classic Trunks look, the Bendis look, or whether it's the pre-New 52, that was the criteria. So nothing from Rebirth or the Reborn suit or the New 52 or from the video games made it into that video. That will be a completely different video. Well, this one is not going to be as narrow a field. It's just going to be my top 10 Batman figures of all time. And some of them are higher up on the list because they've got a real nostalgic place in my heart. Others, it's because I really liked how they were put together. And others, it's just because I really like the sculpt of that figure. When I made the list, that was what came out. And I tried rearranging the list a few times, but it always came back to this order. So this is my top 10 favorite Batman action figures of all time. Also, let's adjust the camera. There, that's better. I don't have to crouch down. I don't know why I had the camera there, because I'm adult. Okay, on with the list. Number 10. Occupying the number 10 spot is the DC Direct Hush Batman figure. Now, whether it's the black and gray or the blue and gray, some people, they like the black and gray better or the blue and gray. For me, I have to say it's the blue and gray Batman Hush figure. I really like that figure. Not that I don't like the black and gray too. I just feel like the blue and gray really captures the overall look that Jim Lee was going for with his artwork back in the day. Now, had this Batman figure had much better articulation and the body proportions been just a little bit better, because when I look at that figure, I see a figure with a really huge lower half and a really small upper half by comparison. Had those two things actually been corrected before it was released, I think that that one probably would have made it to my top 3 Batman action figures. But the lack of articulation and the strangeness of the body size and proportions, as far as I'm concerned, made it so that it is on the very bottom of my top 10 list. But hey, it still made the list. Number 9. Coming in at number 9 is the Mattel DC Superheroes classic black and gray pouch belt Batman figure. How could that figure not be on my list? The sculpt is fantastic. Mattel did make some of their own kind of details. They did kind of take a little bit of creative license, but it's well within the realm, in my opinion, of what is very Batman-esque and very acceptable. I love the head sculpt for this figure. I love how big and muscly and no nonsense and gonna shove a giant bat boot up Joker's butt this figure looks. But I think he looks great. I think he's an excellent representation of a classic black and gray solid bat pouch belt Batman, and he had to make my list for number 9. So coming in at number 9 is my DC Superheroes Batman figure by Mattel. Number 8. Occupying space number 8 on the list is the DC Collectibles animated Batman figure, the one based off of the original Batman the Animated Series that I first watched as a kid. I always wanted a slightly larger, more articulated Batman the Animated Series Batman figure, and they did have figures back in the day which were pretty good for what they were. They were made by Kenner, but they just did not wet my whistle enough, and I was getting a little bit older and not really buying action figures at that point in my life. So I left them all on the shelf. I never bought any of them. But then when this one came out, I was like, oh my god, yes, I have to have it. It's like a piece of my heart has been molded in plastic and then stuck inside of a package and sold. I mean, they were made for everybody, but they were really made just for me. To me, he's just such a quintessential version of Batman that I just can't imagine not having him on the list. So he's number 8, the animated series Batman action figure. Number 7. Occupying place number 7 on my favorite all-time Batman action figures list is the DC Icons Rebirth Batman action figure. I feel like he's just been so well designed and painted and sculpted that he had to earn a place on the list. And the Rebirth Batsuit, if I'm being honest, I didn't like it at first, but it grew on me over time, and I was like, it's not the perfect suit, but it is what it is, and the color scheme and the way they put it together, it actually looks really good, and they executed this figure really well. You may not like the DC Icons articulation. Some people feel like they were seriously lacking in some areas. I just feel like this is a really good, high-quality representation of the Rebirth Batman. Number 7, DC Icons Rebirth Batman figure. Number 6. Coming in at number 6 is the 1989 Michael Keaton Batman action figure from NECA. It's a figure that I couldn't imagine not having on this list because, one, much like the animated series version of Batman from DC Collectibles, this is such a quintessential version of Batman because of his look and then the history of this version of Batman itself in Batman's timeline. I think that to not have him represented would be a crime. The only real problem I have with them, aside from how brittle the knees and the joints could be, they can snap off, so I almost never touch mine, is the fact that the head with the cowl on is a little bit too big in size and proportion in comparison to the body. I do wish they had have made the body bigger, or the head-cowl combination a little bit smaller. But nonetheless, I feel like he's done well enough and he's an important enough figure that I had to represent him on this list of my favorite, most important top 10 Batman action figures, with him coming in at number 6. Number 5. Coming in at number 5, so we're halfway down the list, is another Michael Keaton 89 Batman figure, only this one's made by Toy Biz. It's the Toy Biz 89 Keaton Batman action figure. In my opinion, a very, very important Batman figure made with the Superpowers kind of styling in mind, because Toy Biz really did copy the Superpowers collection when they got their license, only they were made also definitely with lesser grade materials and with lesser grade assembly techniques. Nonetheless, in 1989-1990, this was the only way to get your hands on a movie Batman figure. I took one of my Superpowers Batman figures before this came out, and I took a black Sharpie marker and I colored the entire thing black, even the cape. So when I opened up the catalog for Sears or Kmart or wherever the catalog was for Christmas, and I saw the 89 Batman with the Batmobile and the Batwing and the Batcave and Bob the Goon and Joker, I was like, oh my god, yes! I'm 38 years old, and this figure was a massive part of my childhood. So coming in at number 5 is the Toy Biz 1989 Michael Keaton Batman figure. Can't live without him. Number 4. Coming in at number 4 is the Kenner Superpowers Collection classic looking Batman action figure, the one with the power action punch. What is not to love about this figure? It's blue and gray, it's classic, it's capsule belt, it's oval bat, and you squeeze his legs and he punches. For me, this was toy action figure playtime Batman gold. And being that when this figure came out in 1984-85, I was 5 years old, this figure was the only Batman figure I had. It was my very first Batman figure, and I had many, many wonderful adventures with the rest of the Super Friends and the Superpowers collection with this Batman figure. So, coming in at number 4 is the Kenner Superpowers Collection Batman action figure. Number 3. Now coming in and occupying my number 3 spot is the Mezco 1/12 Collective Dark Knight Returns Batman figure. I feel like it's an excellent representation of Frank Miller's Batman as he presented him in that miniseries. Between the quality of the costuming and the articulation, the sculpting detail, and the paint apps on the face, with all those things under its belt, all in my opinion being top notch, I can't think of there being a reason why he wouldn't have made it to the top 3. If I'm being honest, it was the Mezco 1/12 Collective Dark Knight Returns Batman figure that actually got me collecting Mezco figures in the first place. I never gave them even a second look, but when I saw the Mezco 1/12 Collective Dark Knight Batman figure come up for pre-order, you better believe it, I jumped on that like a fly on turd. Number 2. Coming in at number 2 is the Mafex Justice League Batman action figure. You saw how much I like him because he made it in my top 2018 action figure list as number 1. I really, really like this figure. I think that he is an excellent representation of Ben Affleck's Batman in the Justice League. I think that he is painted fantastically, sculpted wonderfully. He's got great articulation. He had an amazing little ensemble of accessories. Just everything about him made me like him so much that I had to buy a second one just to keep in the package. I really like this figure. And if you just have the Batman v Superman from Mafex, and you're holding off on getting this one because you're like, I already got a Mafex, don't do that to yourself. Seriously, this Justice League version is superior in every single way, in my opinion, to the original Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice Mafex. I think that it's a fantastic figure, and I can't imagine him not being in the number 2 spot. Number 1. Alright, so, for my number 1 top favorite Batman figure of all time, out of all the Batman figures that I own, so only figures that I own can go on the list. Coming in at number 1 is the Mezco 1/12 Collective Batman action figure. I know that right now, people are like, really? Why is that number 1? Well, hear me out why I chose him for number 1. For one, I like the body proportions. He does seem just a little bit stubby, but I think that that works with Batman in the same way that it can kind of work with Wolverine too. And I think that they did an excellent job putting together his fabric, his cloth goods suit. I love the cape. I like the likeness of the face sculpt. The articulation is really good for me. Just everything. The texture of the gloves and the boots. I think that this figure is such an excellent representation of Batman's Dawn of Justice suit that I just couldn't not put him on the list. And he comes with an excellent array of accessories as well to boot. So I just think bang for buck, in my opinion, he is my favorite Batman figure that I've ever seen made. I know that you're going to have probably a very different list, and that's the beauty of us all being different. We've all got different figures that would make our top 10 list in different order because we're all different. No matter how many times I tried to rewrite the list and rearrange the list, this was the only list I could come up with, and in the only order I could put it together. So, take it for what it is. My top 10 Batman action figures list of all time as I see it. But I know you have your own list, so feel free to leave it down in the comment section below because we're all different. If you liked the video, please leave a like on it. If you want to see more of the things that I do on YouTube show up in your inbox, don't be afraid to hit the subscribe button and doink the bell so that you never miss a video. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching and being supportive, super friends, and I will see you next time. Have an awesome day. Take care.